In today's video, we are going to be going through bags of 90% silver, and I'm going to be showing you something incredibly interesting, so I hope that you stick with me. And what I'm going to be showing you is related to a loss of silver, but first I want to show you exactly what we have in these bags. So this bag right here, and these are all out of my light stack, which is the stuff that I use for barter trade, going to coin shows, stacker boxes, auctions, you know, things like that. This is all 90% silver half dollars, 1964 and earlier. These are all 90% silver quarters, 1964 and earlier. And I have this massive crown bag right here full of 90% silver dimes. And what I need to do with these, because I haven't done it with this pile of silver yet, is go through them and look for a loss of silver. Now, what do I mean by a loss of silver? Well, let me show you. This right here is a 1964 quarter. You can see it has full detail, full rim. This has all of its silver, or at least 99.9% of it. However, there are coins in these bags that look more like this. Look at this. It has no rim. It is missing the majority of the detail. You can't even read all of Liberty. On the back, you can see half of the eagle's wings are gone. There's no rim as well. And then if you put them side by, or rim by rim, I should say, you can see that the coin on the left is thinner. This coin does not have all of its silver. So whenever I put these in my stacker boxes or in a bag for an auction, or if I, sell them at a coin show, I don't like selling stuff like this unless I know what it is and I can sell it cheaper because it is missing some of the silver. Whereas this right here, I would sell at normal price. So we need to go through these bags and find the ones that look like this. But after I do that, we're going to weigh them and see how much silver I've actually lost. So if you want to see how much silver is actually lost in these bags by pulling out the calls, make sure you stick with me in this video as we pull them out, and I will show you at the end what they weigh and how much silver they should weigh if they were in better condition like these right here. But before we do me a favor, don't forget to go down below and like and subscribe. Help us get to 200,000 subscribers. We're almost there, and I would love for you to be one of them. Another year, another monster box of silver. For 2024, SD Bullion is giving away a full monster box of their 1-ounce silver Tree of Life coins. You can enter this giveaway all year, but I suggest that you do it now by going to sdbullion.com/sweepstakes and make sure you enter today. Thank you to SD Bullion for sponsoring my channel. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with the bag of half dollars. And I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me go through every single coin, but I'm going to dump these out. And just to give you an idea here, like something like this is kind of what we're looking for right here. So you can see this one, like I showed you with the quarter earlier, is definitely missing some of its silver. So I'm going to go through these and I'll show you whenever I find anything major, and then I'll show you at the end what I found in half dollars. Then we'll do quarters, then we'll do dimes, then we'll weigh them up and see how much silver I've actually lost. So let's go ahead. I'm going to set that aside and kind of get started on going through them. All right, so the first find so far is this one here. It looks like it's a 1918, so an earlier date, but you can see it is missing all of its rim, probably missing a little bit of silver as well. I'm going to put this into my slicks pile. That one right there, I definitely want to get a little bit less for because it's missing some of its silver. And very quickly, you can see I found another one. This one's 1920. Yeah, this one's definitely going into the slick pile as well. And I may even melt some of these down, and I keep some of these for 90% silver melters, and whenever I get the 20 ounces, I'll melt them and turn them into a bar. And yes, that is legal for those of you out there that, think it's illegal to melt 90% silver coins. It is not. It is illegal to melt for the bullion, the current pennies and nickels, but 90% silver, 1964 and earlier, half dollars, and dimes and quarters, and even war nickels, 42 to 45, are not illegal to melt for their silver. So anyway, let's keep going, see what else I can find. Like this one right here, another 1918. But yeah, didn't even need the stop. It was just sitting there. All right, let's go. All right, I wanted to bring you in because we do have a barber here. Now, the thing about barbers is they do have a higher premium. So even slicked out ones like this, sometimes people are excited to get those. So I'm not going to put these into the pile that I'm pulling out for slicks, but I am going to set that aside because sometimes people like to get a barber. And if I could send it to them a little bit cheaper, but also that it's a barber, they could be pretty thrilled about that. So we'll set that one aside because it's a barber. And I also found these two right here that are going into the slicks. You can see we've mostly found Walking Liberty half dollars, which is pretty typical, but that brings us up to 6 slicks. I mean, if you look at it right here, maybe this one is questionable because you do see we still have a pretty decently reeded edge there. But I imagine if we weigh these out, you're going to have less than 0.715 ounces per dollar. Let's keep on going. All right, so I wanted to bring you in because I found the worst one so far. So this right here, I wouldn't even sell this at a discounted rate. This is literally going right into my 90% silver melters bag. And I have other 90% silver melters. This bag is just specifically for this video. So we have found one melter, but just, I mean, look at this thing. It is long gone. You can't even barely see anything going on the reverse of this one. So, yep, this one right here will eventually get melted down and turned into a 20-ounce bar when I get the 20 ounces of that stuff. I did also find 4 more. Probably this 44 is really borderline. I'll throw it on a scale and decide. But the other 3 right here definitely are going to be slicks, I think. So we'll throw those into the slicks pile for sure. We'll test out that 44 just to weigh it out. And we're getting close to being done with the $half, but let's keep on going. And I found another barber. You can see we actually have 2 1904s now. One's an O, one is a P. But yeah, so a couple of barbers now that we have found. Definitely slicker. This one's actually a little bit better, I think, than the first. No, this was the first one. Either way, a couple of barbers, gonna set those aside. Real quick, I thought maybe you'd like to see this one. This is actually a toned 41. Looks like it was in an album. I'm gonna set this aside for different reasons because I love the color. You see you got purples and blues right there. Yeah, this one's not going into either pile. I'm gonna set that one aside. I may put that in a 2x2 because it is really cool. But we have found 4 more slicks. This 43, well, that's why I pulled it out. I was gonna say it's basically probably fine, but it has this going on, like someone shot it with a BB gun. So that one, probably sell a little bit cheaper, maybe in the slicks pile. I think most of the silver is there though. The rest of these definitely qualify for our slicks though. So we got a pretty large stack of slicks here. And as you can see, oops, I don't want to do that one, like I just said. That one's fine. You can see here we are done. So let's go ahead and move on to the quarters. And to be honest, I feel like I'm gonna find more slicks in the quarters than I did in the $half. And that's because I have a lot less quarters, which means I've been picking out the nice ones already. But yeah, we're gonna look for stuff like this. Like this Standing Liberty is pretty slick. We're gonna set that one aside. This Washington quarter here. This one's really borderline. It's something I have to think about, but we're gonna look for, yeah, I mean, look at this. This thing is really long gone. So we're gonna go ahead and go through these, pull out the really slicks and see what we have, and then we'll get to the dimes. And then like I said, at the end, we'll weigh it all out and see how much silver we've lost. And I'm not really even that far in here. You can see we still have most of the pile, but I've put a bunch of stuff to the side here already. Look at this. I had a feeling the quarters were gonna be bad. If we look at the rims of these, you can see maybe this one right here is borderline, but the rest of these, I mean, you know, maybe this one here is borderline, I don't know, but you can see we definitely already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, possibly 10, and we've barely went through the pile. All right, so we have quite a few now, and I still have a lot of quarters left to go through. Look at this. That is a lot of very slick quarters, which means we've lost a lot of silver. But I actually brought you in, not just to show you an update on that, but we found this barber, and actually I just saw this one here. But this 1899 barber right here actually is in better shape than a lot of the Washington quarters in our slick pile. So we're gonna set that aside for a different reason. This 1904, not so much. This one is pretty slicked out. We're gonna stick that into our slicks. All right, so we're almost done with the quarters. We have found a lot more, and no, this is not the stack I just showed you a moment ago. Look at this. This is where we are now. I mean, there may be a couple in here that I might reevaluate, but for the majority of these are 100% going into the slick bag. All right, that is it for the quarters, and these are all the slicks. Now, I did reevaluate a few, threw them on a scale because they looked a little bit meatier than I thought when I first pulled them out, and they did weigh at least 6.1 grams, so I threw them back into the bag. That is my threshold number. Anything 6 grams or lower is definitely a slick, and I throw it into a bag. And by the way, no, that's not an industry standard. That's something that I came up with. But these all definitely qualify as slicks, and we're gonna put these in the pile with our $half. And then, like I said, at the end of the video, we're gonna weigh all this out and see how much silver we've lost based on, you know, the fact that we should have 0.715 ounces per dollar here. Now let's do the dimes, and this is going to take me a while, but for you it'll only take a minute or so. So let's go ahead and dump these out, and I'm going to go through the painstaking process of looking at these and pulling out the slicks, and I'll bring you in when I have a significant amount or if I find something interesting. All right, so first update, we did find a lot of mercury dimes that are pretty slicked out, as you can see here. This Roosevelt's probably not what I would call a slick, but it's really ugly. It looks like it was roadkill, basically. So we're gonna pull that one out aside as well, but the rest of these, definitely missing a decent amount of silver. So it feels like we haven't even dented it yet. We have a long way to go. Let's see what else I can find. All right, so we're a little bit more of the way through, and I wanted to point out this one because it looks like it's been fire damaged, and it even sounds different. I'm pretty sure it is real. I'm gonna double check that later, but this is definitely going into our melter pile, so that's going into our 90% melt bag. And I think that's what I'm gonna do with this one that I showed you earlier that also looks like it's fire damaged and ran over in the road. So those are gonna go into the remelts, but we have some more right here that we are definitely throwing into our, into our slicks pile. All right, well, it's been a little bit, but these are all new that I have found, and this is definitely taking a while. It's only been seconds for you guys. It has been like a half hour for me, but you can see we got a lot of slicks right here, and definitely still looking. We got less than half left at least, but a lot of these are really long gone, and I think a couple of these are actually gonna make it into the melt pile, like this one right here. I mean, that thing is gone. So yeah, a lot of these are really bad. So we're gonna pull a few of those out in the melt pile. We'll add this to the rest of the slicks pile. And this is what we have left. And that's it for the dimes. This is what I found in the rest of it that I had there. This is what we already had, plus the couple that we are going to put into the melt bags. This is all slicked out silver that I found in my 90% that I've been avoiding putting into the stacker boxes and whatnot. We're gonna go ahead and weigh it out. Well, we need to count out what the face value is. Then we're gonna weigh it out and see how much silver is actually missing. Again, we are looking for 0.715 ounces of silver per dollar face value. So let's see what we have in face value first, and then we'll weigh it. All right, so each one of these big piles is 5. We have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, $25.50 face value of 90% silver. Let's weigh it out and see if we're anywhere close to what we should have. So we'll turn on our scale. All right, well, I'm having trouble getting it to fit on the scale, so we're gonna do it this way. We'll take all of this off. We're gonna put our scale here. We're gonna add this Ziploc bag to the scale, make sure it fits onto it. Now we're gonna tear out the weight of the bag as well, so that when we add all the 90% silver to the bag, it will already adjust for the weight of the bag. As you can see now, it says minus 0.065. So let's fill our bag up with all of our silver. And now that we have all of our 90% silver in a bag, we can just place it on a scale. The bag's already accounted for. And now you can see that we have 19.075 ounces. Now, I don't know how good you are at math, but I do not think that's gonna come out to what we were expecting. Let's go ahead and do the math anyway. Again, we're looking for 18.2325 ounces. If we take our 19.075, multiply that by 0.9, you can see we actually only have 17.1675. So if we subtract our 18.2325, we are missing over an ounce of silver, actually an ounce and around a 20th of silver. If we were to multiply that by today's spot price of around 32, that means we are missing $34 in silver in this bag. Now there's only $25.50 face value in this bag, so that means we're missing over $1 per dollar. So if I were to sell this, let's say 90% is going for around 24, something in this bag I would be like 22 or 21.50, somewhere in there. Give them a discount because it's ugly, but it's still 90% silver. It's just that it's definitely missing some silver here. Again, this bag is missing an ounce of silver from what we expected to have. And now, whenever I sell 90% out of my regular bags, I know that I've checked them all and we don't have anything like this sitting in there. So that's why I do it. So I hope you liked today's video and you found it informative. If you did, do me a huge favor and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on more videos like this. And don't forget to leave a like and leave a comment to help YouTube recommend this video to others. Guys, thank you so much for joining me in this experiment, if you will, and have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time.